My name is Dedrick Taylor Jr.
Isabella Valdez.
Diamond Taylor.
James Henderson Jr.
Kayvon King.
Samantha Sue.
Landon Glavich.
When I grow up, more than anything, I want to be successful. As far as a profession goes, I would probably go into refereeing to follow in my dad's footsteps, but I really want to be successful. I want to be able to provide for my family, and I just want to be an inspiration to other people who are growing up. I probably made that decision my sophomore year of high school, and then I started refereeing at the YMCA my junior year of high school. And ever since then, I've been refereeing during the summer and usually in the fall. There was a moment when I was in the 6th grade. My dad took me to Oklahoma with him on a referee trip, and he was going, and I saw the process that he went through on a day-to-day basis, and it kind of really opened my eyes to becoming a referee for the first time. And ever since then, it was always a thought in the back of my mind. And my freshman year, my dad took me and a couple of my friends on a trip to California where we got to see Golden State versus Portland in Steph Curry's MVP season. And we were behind the scenes of everything and the process that they go through on a day-to-day basis. And that was when I really fell in love with it. For me, that feels amazing to be able to watch my dad on the highest stage in the NBA. Like, that's incredible. You know, every kid's dream is to be in the NBA or play professional sports at some capacity. So in order to be able to see him on that stage with those players, it's just an amazing thing, and it fills my heart. My happy place would definitely be the basketball court, because whenever I go there, I forget about everything else that's going on, and I can just truly focus on what I'm doing, whether it's playing basketball, refereeing, or just being in the gym, just shooting the ball. It has this electrifying effect on my body where I can just go to a completely another level. I feel most relaxed at home when I'm in my room, just chilling with my headphones on. That's my peace, that's my joy, whenever I'm unbothered and I'm just by myself. Yes, I faced in-my-face racism my junior year of high school. I was dealing with this girl who I liked a little bit, and her parents had big time race issues, and they actually said, can you find somebody who's exactly like him but white? Which just shows you that it's really wasn't about the content of my character, it was about the color of my skin, because they liked everything else about me, but they just had a problem with me being black. She told me, actually, which I'm not sure why she told me, but that is how I found out. She told me, and I didn't know how to take it at first, but there's really only one way to take it. So I ended things off with that, and I just moved forward remembering that I'm proud to be black, and anybody who's not going to accept me for my blackness doesn't get to be around me. I felt hurt, and I felt really betrayed on the inside. It was like, wow, this is real, because you read about it in the history books, and you know it's always something that gets talked about, but dealing with it in an over blatant, in your face way just really shows how true it is and how active it is even in today's society. So yeah. So after she told me, we had a whole conversation about it, and it was really just like, why do your parents think this way? Like, what is the problem? What is their problem? And I have a very forgiving heart and spirit, so I always try to see the best in every situation. So in my mind, I initially saw it as an opportunity to try to help them overcome their obvious race issues, because I was thinking about how good of a person I am and how, hey, maybe if I show myself to them, that I can get them to love me. So that's just the way that I think about things. And so we continued talking for a little while after that, and the relationship continued, but it wasn't even really a relationship because it was almost secretive from her parents. So whenever I found that out, I was like, yeah, no, I really don't feel comfortable with you being secretive if we're gonna be in a relationship, quote unquote. So she was like, okay, we can stop that, whatever. And she said that it was more open and that she talked to her parents, and her parents knew, which is true because I had gone over to her house a few times, so they did know and understand. But we continued, and she ended up being unfaithful to the relationship that we had, and that is when I really ended things, and I was like, yeah, no, don't ever talk to me again in your entire life. Which is a bit dramatic, but I was hurt, and it was how I really felt. People around the school, they reacted differently. You could really tell who was on the same side as her parents being racist, whether it's subliminally or overtly, and then you could tell the people who just see people as people, how we should. So you would have some people who would give us weird looks in the hallway, and then you would have other people who would just see us like any other couple, who would just treat us normally, who, when they asked, hey, are you with this person? It'd be like, yeah, and they'd be like, oh, that's so good, you know, you guys look good together, like whatever. So in school, that's really all it was, and I never ran into many problems during school. We didn't go out that many times together, like outside of school, so there weren't many opportunities for us to get looks, but on the occasions that we did go out, we did get a lot of looks. 100% I do feel like I will achieve my goals in life. I feel like I'm a hard enough worker to the point where I can work to achieve my goals. If it's something that I truly want and I set my mind to it, then anything is possible, and I'm a firm believer of that. I do believe there are certain challenges that I will face in trying to achieve those goals, but I don't think it's anything overbearing. There is a sense of systematic racism and oppression in the United States of America, but usually when you go into the sport fields, that seems to be negligified. So people usually turn the other cheek, but that's mainly as an athlete. So coming up as an aspiring referee, trying to become an official, which is more on the business side of things, which is mainly ruled by the white man, it will be a little bit harder to achieve that goal because professionalism in America is seen as acting like a white man. So you have to put on a face whenever you go in these public settings where you have an important meeting or something like that. You know, there's a sense where you can't really be true to yourself because you have to be pleasing to the eye on the outside. So he worked. My dad is a black man, and he worked his butt off to get where he is today. There were times when he was working 2 and 3 jobs. He would have his day job, then he would have his side hustle, and then he was working a midnight league refereeing, trying to get those hours in. So for him, it was just like, this is what I need to do to get my family in a better situation, which is something that really inspired me. It really showed me like what it means to be a man, because there were nights where he was getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep if he was lucky, because he would be gone all day long. There were days where I didn't see him. Monday through Friday, most of the time I didn't see him unless I woke up super early or I went to sleep super late. But My dad is really an inspiration as far as hard work and what it takes to be successful. Yes, at the end of the day, if you work hard and you're successful and you dedicate yourself to something, that you will achieve the goals regardless of you being black or not. I believe in this day and age, there is fair opportunity, equal chance for everyone, and that's something that if you work hard enough, there's no amount of racism in today's age that can stop you from achieving a goal, because it reaches a point when it's like you're just so much better than everyone else. They'd be complete idiots if they didn't let you achieve your goal. When my father went out into the business world, he definitely had to put on a face to make sure to appeal to the white man or to his colleagues and co-workers or the people that he was trying to impress in order to ensure that he got hired. And I just feel like that is something that happens in this world that you have to do when you go out. So yes, he did put on a face, but by the same time, he made sure at the base of everything, he was true to himself. And he was still being personable, and he was still being himself. He was just being presentable, I believe that's the best way to put it. I think that white people do not have to be as presentable as a black person would or any person of color. I believe that if a white man were to walk into an interview, he already has one step ahead on everybody else who has walked into that interview if everybody else was being a person of color. So I do feel like although they still have to be presentable and they still have to present themselves in a fashionable manner and a very professional manner, that they do already have one step ahead, one tick forward. Well, I think Obama he did his due diligence. He studied, he perfected his craft. He was a great politician. He learned about the world affairs. He learned about the country, how it needs to be run optimally. He had plans and ideas to change our country for the better. And like I said earlier, if you put in the work and you outwork other people, then there is no stopping you. So once he rose to the position where he could run for president, he had a lot of backing from the black community, because obviously we would love to see a person that looks like us, a person of color, a black man, as the president of the United States. So whenever the time came, he was able to get the votes from the people of color, and then there were also the people who saw his ideals and they loved him and they voted for him. And I think it was just that got him to be the president of the United States. I believe that it's a little bit of both. It's a sign of progress and that Obama was really good at what he did. For people not of color to vote for him, as far as the Hispanics, the whites, like whatever, for those people to vote for him, that it shows that he had to be good at what he did, but it also signifies process, because in the past it wouldn't matter if he was the best at what he did, he still wouldn't be able to get the job. So the fact that he was able to even become president just speaks for the progress that is happening in our country as we speak. I do not fear for my life on a day-to-day basis. There's no reason for me to, unless there's some type of confrontation, but that is a specific event. That's not on a day-to-day basis. Well, I feel like you just have to pray for the people who are racist or who don't see you the same as other people, and you have to pray that there's a change in their heart and their spirit, because we all know that at the core of things, that is not right, that is not who we are as a people group, and that is not what God put us on this earth to be. He did not want to separate us by people. So I feel like you just really have to push them towards God so that they can see the truth and that we're all equal and that we're all family at the end of the day. A couple of people who have had positive impacts on my life are my dad, my coach, my high school basketball coach, PJ Brown, Mr. Gordon, as cliche as it is, LeBron, just his story and how he came from nothing to being one of the greatest basketball players and influencers on the black community of all time. When I hear the word racism, I just think of oppression and hatred, and I think back when there were slaves and the people who got taken away from their country, and how that is my blood, that is my ancestry, and that was so long ago, but at the same time not so long ago. And you look at the world today and you see that these same issues, the same racism, the same segregation is still affecting the world today. And the word racism to me is just absolute hatred and disrespect for another person. To be a part of the solution, you just have to see that these people who are being racist are not being looked upon as good people in God's eyes, because that's not what God put us on this earth to do. So you just have to pray for them so that they can see the error in their ways, and you just have to be I have to be the best version of myself, just to try to exemplify that all people really are the same. There's good black people, there's good white people, there's bad black people, there's bad black white people. But at the end of the day, we're all people, and that's how we should all be treated.
When I grow up, I want to be in HR. I was kind of interested in the arts at first, but my mom she was a singer, but I saw like how much she struggled, or like anyone I know in the music industry like struggled to like find a job, and I knew that like I wasn't passionate enough for music that I wanted to be a career. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll keep it as a hobby. Let's see what my other strengths are. And as I like grew up, I realized that like helping people and doing stuff that's related to like people, that's like what I'm pretty good at. So, and I looked to see what was like a steady job when it comes to that, and HR was one of them. There's different like fields, I would say, in HR. There's like the hiring process, like if there's internal problems, like sexual like assault stuff, like HR would handle that. There's hiring that, and like it comes to like managing their pay, I would say there's like it's pretty broad. So I guess like what I want to do specifically is either the hiring process or handling internal affairs. Well, in my house currently, there's this lake in the background, not the background, sorry, my backyard. And when I go there, it's really peaceful. I sometimes just like put a blanket out there, play some music, and sometimes I'll just like go to sleep, and it's really nice. My ethnic background is Chinese American. It's kind of complicated. My mom is from Hong Kong, which is China, but back then it was like a British territory. And my dad, he is Chinese, but he was born in Peru. I don't know what it would mean to be overt, because I feel like a lot of racism against Chinese Americans or any Asian Americans is pretty normalized. So I guess overt and like it was never aggressive, but like I would experience a lot of like jokes and like just these stereotypes against me. So I always knew it was never like it had any ill will against me, but I did know there was like kind of like an undertone of racism in these statements sometimes. That kind of like our diet, like that we all eat dogs, or just like sometimes like my friends, we would just like approach a dog and they'd be like, oh, like watch out for Sam, and it's like, I don't know. And like just that I'm really good at math or like studies, and just I would say I didn't realize that it was like had an undertone of racism until like I kind of like really I would say like when TikTok came around and I would just like kind of scroll through and other Asian Americans would like talk about this and like how like there's like undertones of racism. I was like, oh, like when I really think about it, I didn't realize how much I let a lot slide by. I would kind of like not encourage it, but I would just be like, oh, I thought it would like if I was the funny one, they would like think I was super cool. They're like, oh, she's not uptight, like she thinks these jokes are cool. And it's come to the point where like they would make these jokes and I'll be like, I know I said I was cool with it before, but I'm not really. And I think they understand, which is nice. No, not really. I would say, if there was, I didn't really pick it up. But I know that other people have, which is unfortunate. I do feel like we've been overlooked because I've seen people like complain and try to like get like their feelings across, and there's these comments, they're just like, oh, that's not real oppression, like, that's like not real racism, it's just jokes, like learn to take a joke. And I'm like, if hundreds of people in this one like ethnic background or race is saying that this is offensive and you're just dismissing them, I just think it's really sad that like that's how people view our feelings, that it's just like they just dismiss us. I do know that it's going to be a journey to like find a job like around these times, but I also like procrastinate a lot, and I struggle with like just like looking at an assignment and be like, oh, like I can afford to like miss this one out, and like that totals my grade. I do know that college is different. There's not a lot of like do-overs like high school has. So as I'm like entering like I would say my third month of college, I know that like that I have to work really hard. Probably myself, just because I procrastinate a lot, and like I feel like I'm like my own obstacle sometimes. I honestly haven't really thought of how my ethnic background would like help me get a job. I don't think that being Chinese will have an impact on getting a job. Probably my mom. Like, she can be tough, but like the one thing she wants is me to succeed. So like when I'm like falling behind, she's always there to be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna get through this. And she's always like kind of like been my rock when it comes to that. Well, she's from Hong Kong. She came to America for college. Met my dad at a party, and she's very musical. She is a music teacher now. She loves to sing. She's been in a couple of operas. I think it's really cool, yeah. I don't know, I never really felt comfortable opening up to her about stuff. Her and my dad have always been the type to like when it comes to advice, they're like, try not to get in conflict, like if something's happening, I would prefer if like, they never say like let people like walk all over you, but I can tell that whenever I tell them that I'm in conflict, they're kind of disappointed that I would like let myself get in that situation in the first place. I think having a father in your life is really important. My dad is one of the nicest people I've ever known. My friends all love him. They think he's hilarious because he doesn't even try. He's just like, he is really nice but really awkward at the same time. So they think it's hilarious that he just doesn't know how to communicate with teenagers, and they think he's so funny. I guess I feel like sometimes people don't see me as a real American because I feel like every time I have to meet a new person, I anticipate with the question, so where are you like really from? And I feel like, you know, if I went to calculus and I was talking to like John next to me and he was like, you know, he was like, I'm from here, I'll be like, no, where are you really from? And he said like Germany. I wouldn't be like, oh, you know, like, I love like, I don't even know what they like sausages or something like that. And like I just feel like that's weird to ask someone else like who's white, but it's just like, I feel like, yeah, just like Asian Americans are not seen as like real Americans in that sense. So I know I said earlier that my parents taught me to be like very cooperative, and sometimes they take it to the extreme of just like don't stick up for yourself if that means like sacrificing like getting along with others. But I think like through that I have learned to really get along with people. I mean, well, not currently because of coronavirus, but ever since childhood, I go to a Chinese church. Like, it's a church where, like, I would say, like, hundreds of, like, Chinese Americans, we would congregate and, I don't know, like, it's not like we're all, like, robots who just, like, all we do is, like, talk about, like, school and stuff like that. Like, we honestly, like, love hanging out. Like, they play sports every Sunday. I don't know how I feel about my mom, because we never talked about this, but I did have this conversation with my dad, like, I would say years ago. He said that, like, he would prefer if I married an Asian man, but in the end, if, like, I really loved who I loved, that he would accept that. Yeah, sad that just in the year 2020, this is still an issue that we have to deal with. Oh, I have a hard time with that. I guess, like, since in the Bible, it's like, sometimes I feel like if they have so much hate towards me, why should I, you know, give them the time of day or, like, even, like, show them love, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I know that's a very Christian thing to do, but I do struggle with that a lot. Well, on social media, I always try to repost petitions that are going on. I've been to a protest in Miami. My dad, I wouldn't say he's racist, but he just doesn't really understand, like, the concept of, like, all lives matter, like, why it's so bad, and I'm always trying to educate him, and because he's willing to listen. So I'm trying to educate him in that sense.
Well, I'm pursuing to be a professional basketball player. I've had that dream since I was young in elementary school. My happy place by far has to be the basketball court. It's where I'm able to think and kind of just breathe and just enjoy the space that I'm in and just to enjoy the now. Where in Miami, I feel the most comfortable would probably be my home and Westminster Christian gym. Spending most of the time there, just breathing, working on my game, just being able just to better myself, not only in the basketball standpoint, but mentally. Where do I feel most uncomfortable? I have to say, maybe just out and about, really. Just like being around like malls and stuff like that. Just kind of like I'm good. I'm very socially active and everything, but I would say just being somewhere I'm possibly to get misunderstood is a place where I'll be most uncomfortable. So some people may see me as a threat, or may see me as intimidating when they haven't even talked to me at all, or shared one conversation or a word with me. So I don't want to be misunderstood. I've never had to deal overt, blatant racism, and I have never been disrespected in that way. But have I feel like I've been dealt with systematic racism and gotten like under the cards racism? Yes, sir, I have. I feel like I've received that, but it's never been like just blatantly to my face. Well, it's kind of like a he say, she say situation. I felt like I was wrong in the situation where I was looked up as not only the one that was accused, but I felt like I was already put guilty without really getting a fair chance of kind of just proving myself that I was in the right, or proving myself innocent. So I was already kind of put in the guilty standpoint without any questions asked. Well, I was in school, and before school, I have friends, and me and my friends were hanging out before class, just chopping it up, talking, just enjoying life. And I popped into a teacher's classroom because we were right in the hallway. I popped into a teacher's classroom, and I was saying good morning, how are you doing? And then when my friends were like messing around behind me, and they pushed me in the back, and I tripped into the classroom because I was just in the doorway. I tripped into the classroom, and I came kind of like tripping into this young lady. And instead of like me trying, because I'm a big guy, so I did not want to fall into her, I kind of just like hugged her, and I kind of was like, oh, like I'm sorry. And then she kind of like snapped on me, and she was like, I don't know what you're doing here. Kind of like she was just like being very hostile. And I was like, I'm sorry. And so we went on about our day. Later that day, I was called to the office. Then they asked me questions, asking me if I had touched her in any inappropriate way. And I've never seen that young lady in an inappropriate manner at all. Never even looked at her that way. And then they basically put me into an office space, into an office all day. I didn't go to lunch. They kind of like locked me. I felt like, honestly, I was locked near like a caged animal. Like they put me in a holding cell. I didn't go to lunch. The whole rest of the day I didn't go to any of my classes. They took away my phone, so I wasn't able to contact nobody. And I felt like they basically pled me guilty. I feel like me being not only a black man, but being as big as I am, well, I'm not really a person to hold a grudge. So I'm still blessed to have this opportunity, have the opportunity to be at the school that I'm at right now, and I don't take that for granted at all. So like, basically, I kind of brushed it off, and like me and my parents brushed it off, and kind of just went on with our lives. Like we don't have anything to hold a grudge for, so we just kind of let God handle that situation. Like, may just judge me off of just my appearances, maybe being arrogant or full of myself, or maybe just thinking I'm more top of the world, when I would like to think of myself as a humble person, and thinking that like maybe I feel like I may not be touched by by any like administration or like anybody, or maybe I may be outside of the law. Maybe people may think that I'm like that, but honestly, I try to respect everybody I'm around and try to give everybody their personal space and just try to show the utmost respect to anybody. I feel like I'm achieving my goals in life. I do believe that my goals, of course, I have an ultimate goal, which is to make it to the NBA, become a professional basketball player. But I feel like my everyday goals, I feel like I do achieve them. I try to at least try to make one person smile a day. I try to communicate with my parents, communicate with my grandparents and stuff like that. Just try to stay as close to my family as possible and make sure I'm able to just connect with everyone I get in contact with. Sometimes I feel like my appearance causes people to misunderstand me, and I feel like that I may approach you on some very kindly and very generous and genuine energy, and then I may be returned with some very hostile or maybe like kind of disgusted energy because just of my appearance of being a big black man. I have a great support system as parents. My father, my mother, they've taught me so many things since I was a young man. Just growing up, since I was in my other school, that like, James, you don't have to be guilty of it, just be accused of it. And when that situation happened with me in the office and everything, being stuck in the office and everything, I kind of understood what they were talking about for the first time. That you don't have to be guilty of it, you just have to be accused of it. And they just continue to just preach to me that just remember to stay respectful no matter what type of high authority. Just stay respectful and just remember to stay James and don't let nobody else change you. Well, my whole life I've been blessed to meet amazing people, be in contact with amazing individuals like my coach PJ. Since I got in high school, he's been a great role model to me. Coach Steve, Coach Andre, Coach Toby, Coach Walker, Coach Keon, all the coaches that I've had, travel team coaches, Coach Lenz, all the great teachers that I met here at Westminster, Mr. Reed, Mr. Andre Gordon, Mr. Comer. I've been able to be impacted by everyone I meet, and I try to take something from everyone I meet, and I feel like a lot of people have made me the man I am today, not only my parents and my family. Oh, every day I walk out my house, I fear for my life. Every day I walk out my house, I have there's a chance of me being misunderstood, and there's a chance of my life being taken just by my appearance, and I know that, and I take precautions every day to try to make sure I'm able to have my hands visible. Like if I see an officer or if I see someone of authority, I make myself known, make sure they know that I'm not a threat. I try my best every day, and I know it's a risk that we may take, that we all take as not only black people, but me being bigger than everyone else. I take that risk every day, stepping out of my house. Oh, definitely. They've definitely taken care of me. Not only just educationally wise, but basketball wise. They've given me an open gym. I've been able to better myself in. Allowed me to come here early, leave late. Like, school is a great place. It was just a bad situation at that time. I believe the two factors that control the direction of my life is how I handle adversity and not letting adversity kill me and break me down. Like all the things that I may go through, not letting it impact the way that I carry myself as an individual. Me and my father, we have a great relationship. Able to talk about everything I need to talk about. I'm blessed to be able to go up to him and talk to him about it. Like, I believe it's a very important part of having both parents in your life. Not only your father, but having both parents in your life. And I'm very fortunate to have that. I don't take that for granted one day. But me and my father were able to just talk like we're boys. Like, I'm able to just talk to him and just be able to vent to him and just ask him questions. And he's giving me that free range just to be able just to share that with him, because he knows what it's like living and growing up as a big black man. And he's teaching me every day. He's telling me many stories of how he's had to deal with racist people, as he had to deal with racism, what to do during racist times, like how to deal with people who show hostile behavior, what to do when a cop pulls you over in the dark or tries to pull you over in the dark, continue driving to somewhere to where someone can see you. Like, he showed all these different little codes just of living as a man of our stature. Some of the most valuable things I've learned in the last 4 months would probably be that we're definitely stronger together. We're definitely stronger together than we are apart. And that us as African Americans and us as black people, if we don't stand for nothing, we'll fall for anything. And that honestly, money isn't everything. Money isn't everything, and that if we sacrifice some money right now, or we sacrifice some of our income right now, it'll definitely lead to a better life for the next generations coming up. Oh, I saw it. I watched the shooting from that just happened in like Milwaukee in Wisconsin or something, and it was complete. Me and my mom discussed it. It was disgusting. Like, it was terrible. Like, I was tearing up. Like, it's really traumatizing to watch. Like no matter what was said in that situation, like what caused you just to put your finger on that trigger. Like, if someone was walking around to their car door, if you're walking to your car door and you just got 7 shots in your back because you're walking to your car door, no matter what was said, I don't care about the words that were said, but if you're walking to your car door and someone shot you in the back 7 times, how would you feel about that? That's disgusting. Like, there's no justice to that. There's no explanation to that. You cannot explain to me what was the reason that, like, you can't justify your mindset in that situation. That's pure intimidation, and that's pure lack of not only respect, but thinking that person's under you and their life doesn't matter. That's purely disgusting. Well, if I get pulled over, I was told that depends on the area I'm at. If I'm in a dark place, I don't stop driving until I get somewhere that someone can see me or witness this thing that's gonna happen. And you be as respectful as you possibly can be. You keep your hands visible, no fast movements at all. If they ask you for your license, you ask them to get it for you. I'm not reaching for my license. I'm not reaching for anything. Are you arresting me? If you're not arresting me, may I go? If I can't go, may I call my parents? If I can't call my parents, may I call a lawyer? Those are all the things I was told to say. I definitely feel like there's good cops out there. There's some cops that are definitely my family members, and I feel like comfortable with them. But it's not like I feel uncomfortable with all cops. It's just that I feel like I hear that cops always say like our lives are in danger every time we approach a car. Our lives are in danger every time we get close to an individual. But I've never heard of a story of a cop getting killed at a traffic stop. I never heard of a cop getting killed or him coming up on somebody's window and they're just shooting him. Like, I understand that you're approaching someone new. You don't know where they come from. You don't know what they're dealing with, and that's all understandable. But honestly, I believe that the training that they should have is really like a psychological training, how to speak to people, how to approach people. Like how to maybe that person may be going through maybe having a bad day. Maybe they just need someone to ask you how you doing, because a cop is supposed to be there to help you. A cop is first aid. Is a first responder. So why don't you respond to my pain? That's all I say. Like a psychological training. Learn how to talk to people. Learn how to communicate with those that you're protecting, that you say so you're protecting. Or is that person in that driver's seat degrading? Are they under you because you have a badge on your chest or a gun on your belt? Because right now, technically, you have the upper hand no matter what. You have a gun on your right or left side whenever you want it. You have my life in your hands right now, sir. Or ma'am. I feel like a few years ago, Martin Luther King would have been proud. Would have been proud of like where we came from. Like Barack Obama becoming president. We're able to share classrooms with our white peers, being able to shake each other's hands, be able to go anywhere, any bathroom you want, drink from any fountain you want. We definitely came a long way. Let's not get that. Let's not just excuse that. But it's feeling like America's trying to go back. It's like we're taking like 20 steps forward and then 30 steps back. Like why do we have to compromise our rights as human beings just to comfort you guys, because we're the minority. So I'm just saying, like, Martin Luther King, he completely made an extreme impact on the way people think today. But it's feeling like people are trying to resort back to the old way of thinking, and it's disgusting. Honestly, I feel like me being a part of it, I feel like I'm able to be a person not only to speak for myself, but speak on behalf of not only my race, but my family, and speak on behalf of those who may not have a voice. Like, honestly believe that we need to support our people more. We need to start investing in ourselves more. So I believe that when we start investing in ourselves and stop being so dependent on the other race, or any other race, or anybody, being more dependent on anybody else, and be more independent and be able to take care of ourselves and our own, I believe that's when real change will come. We start investing in ourselves and just doing things on our own, creating things on our own, creating businesses, banks, grocery stores, everything on our own. Not cutting anybody out, but just making it our own.
When I grow up, I want to be a statistician, hopefully for a sports team, but really any type of statistics. I love that stuff. I've wanted to be that for about a year and a half now, I think. And I started wanting to be that at the end of 10th grade after I took a statistics course at my high school. Well, I had this teacher who kind of enjoyed the sports statistics, and I've always loved sports, watching sports, following sports, but I've never been the most athletic. So when he started talking about all these different things that you can do with statistics in sports, I don't know why, but just something clicked. And I was like, okay, well, I've been looking kind of for what I want to do. Why not pursue this? So I went home, started researching, and turns out there's like a lot in this kind of new technological era. There's a lot you can do with that. So that's kind of when I decided at the end of 10th grade. My happy place would have to be every year my family goes and spends a week with my dad's extended family, and every night we just play these massive card games and just talk, and it's just super relaxing. So I just love being out there with my family. Well, I am not a very big social person, so I gotta say, just in my room, reading a book, scrolling through my phone, just kind of hanging out with my family again. Yes, I have heard some people around me talk about racism or talk about different races in kind of a surprising way, but I think that's mainly, usually it's my grandfather, and he's kind of advanced in age and kind of had a stroke a while back, so he kind of doesn't have as much control on what he says anymore. And so, and he grew up in Savannah, so there are some different kind of customs back in like the 40s and 50s. So, and I know that he's a nice guy, but I think just kind of that, because it truly was ingrained back in the 40s and 50s. And so even if it's not something that he believed when he was or not believed, but if it wasn't something that he said while he was before his stroke, I think that now, as he doesn't really have much control over it anymore, these things are just kind of coming back to the surface. Well, it's mostly just kind of stereotypes almost. Like, I haven't ever heard him talk in like a derogatory manner, like with derogatory words. It's mostly just kind of like stereotypes. Like he talked about Jews in kind of a stereotypical manner, but like it's not. I haven't perceived it as him being kind of mean to them, like putting them down. It's just something that he says kind of randomly. I don't think that I personally right now think of any reservations about the color of any person's skin, but I do have reservations, like if someone is kind of lying on the ground as like a homeless person in downtown Miami, I'm not gonna like be mean to them or anything. I'm just gonna be wary. And I know that sounds kind of bad, but it's more like, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like it's kind of been instilled in me, but I don't know by who, because it's not like my mom or my dad have ever told me, oh, you need to walk around these people. I don't know why, but and it's not, I'm not mean towards them. I'm just kind of wary of where they are and stuff like that. I think I will be able to achieve the goals that I set for myself, but I don't think I would be able to if it wasn't for my parents and kind of the community that I've grown up around, because that really has shaped my dream to like how high to set my dreams. I know that with help, with hard work, I could achieve those dreams. So my dad, at least, he's always kind of, for a while there, whenever my college and career counselor would get an email about a college tour or anything like that, or a scholarship, he'd forward me the link, even though I also received the email. So he's always trying to like, okay, so for college you need to make sure that you get scholarships, because when he was in college, his parents ran out of money, like right in the middle. So he had to move down here and work for like, I think about a year before he could return to college. So he's always been into save money, get scholarships. If you can go to college for free, go to college for free. You need to plan your life so that you can be kind of that financially independent person in your later years. And so he's just always been kind of there to remind me that it's not all about money, but it's nice to be able to kind of sit there and have a vacation day, and you don't have to work like 365 days a year. And then my mom has always kind of been the encourager for me, just making sure that I'm doing what I want and just making sure I'm getting done what needs to get done. My father and mother have instilled in me a kind of a drive. Like, if you set a goal, you need to be able to like go out and make sure that you follow the steps to get that goal. You can't just kind of sit around and then one day say, oh, I'm going to be able to run a mile in 5 minutes. It's going to take a while. You're going to have to run every single day a lot, and slowly that time is going to get shorter and shorter. So they've instilled in me hard work, but it's also been hard work with steps. Like, you need to be able to, it's hard work, but it's working hard, if that makes sense. Like, it's not if you just finish this, it's like one step. You need to work hard for each and every step, each and every inch that you have to gain towards that goal. And so I think that's what they've instilled in me. I do not think that there's anything holding me back. If anything, really, it's myself that's holding me back. Well, if one day I just decide that I don't really want to do this, or if I go home after school one day and I'm not going to write a college essay, then the next day I don't want to write the college essays, and then it just gets to the point where I can't write the college essays because there's not enough time. Really, it's just my drive. If I can have that hardworking mindset, because it's more the mindset. You can work hard in your actions, but if you're just kind of in your brain kind of lazy, eventually it's going to stop. Your actions and your mindset have to line up for the goal to be accomplished. Okay, so my dad, first and foremost, he's always been there, especially for my Christian faith. He's always been the one, if I have a question like, hey Dad, how does this work? And I just, in Bible class today, they talked about it, and I'm still not 100% understanding it. He's always there with the answer. But then public figure that I've kind of just thought about, like, how is he doing this? Clayton Kershaw, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, but he has this program where he goes to Africa like almost every year and goes and builds things. He goes on missions trips, and it's like, even with all of the money he's making and even with all of the accolades that he has and all the people kind of like, oh, I wish I was you, he's a Christian, and he remains a Christian. That is who he is first and foremost. That is who he has even said this in interviews, like, I'm a Christian first. Jesus is first in my life. And like, sometimes when you have people kind of getting a lot of fame and money, they tend to start straying away from, oh, God has blessed me with this, and they go to, I have done this for myself. And as kind of a Christian boy, and then kind of now a young man going into becoming a man, I just feel that if I can have all that money like Clayton Kershaw does and still be constant in my faith, still helping people, then like that would be a great life to have. God and myself are the two factors that control where I'm going, where I'm headed. Because as much as my mom and my dad and people around me can say, oh, here's an opportunity for you, it's my initiative, my hard work that's going to, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. They can show me, oh, here, you can go do this. But I can just sit down and say, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I think it's really, the opportunities are there for me. It's just kind of my initiative of whether I'm gonna go get them and go accomplish it. If I hear people talking in a racist manner, I think number one, right away, you have to call it out, because if you let it grow and you get kind of this circle of people who are all talking this way, the first day they say something, then the second day they say something more, and it just slowly builds up. And like then you have this humongous kind of racist thing in your heart, in your head, and even if you're not a part of it, even if you're just sitting there and letting your friends talk racist, you are the sum of the 5 closest people to you. Even if you're not agreeing with that, the thoughts are still in your mind. You're still hearing that stuff, and that's detrimental to you. Even if you're saying, okay, I won't believe this, but I don't want to be the uncool person and like say, hey guys, let's not talk about that. And sometimes a line needs to be drawn. Like this, there are things that you just cannot say, and you should never say. For that, the love those who hate you and pray for those who persecute you. Right now in my life, I don't think that there's a lot of people who hate or persecute me. And so I think I do need to start praying. Just if there is anybody, I need to start praying for them. If I'm going to be a solution to towards racism, I need to be able to talk about it. Like sometimes I need to talk about it. I need to be able to call people out on it. And like I think once you get there, it's not just that you are talking about it. It's that you're comfortable in calling people out on it. Because I think that's half the battle. Kind of like if your friend is saying something, he's your friend. You don't want to say, hey, stop saying that, that's racist. Like, you don't want to say that to your friend, and they're going to be like, you don't want to lose a friend. You need to have that mindset, like, this is something that needs to stop. This needs to stop now. And the only way that you can do that is if you do say some kind of uncomfortable things to your friends. When I hear the word racism, I feel scared almost. Last year in English, we read the book Black Like Me, and then we were kind of talking about the 50s and the 60s and kind of segregation and all that. And in one of these clips, there was a video of a congressman, and he said, segregation then, segregation now, segregation forever.
I draw the line in the dust and toss the gauntlet before the feet of tyranny, and I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
And even as a white male teenager, that scared me down to the core. Like, if you're gonna do that to this human being, how is that, like, they're still a human being, you can do that to me. If you, like, I don't know, that's just, that phrase has just kind of been stuck in my mind, and that scares me, and that's kind of, yeah.
When I grow up, I want to be a doctor. I don't really know yet. When I was little, I actually wanted to be a vet, and then I realized like vets take care of more than just dogs, and I was like, yeah, never mind. So then I kind of switched to doctor, and then I thought maybe neuro, because like that's my major, but now I'm thinking maybe emergency medicine or peds, but I still have a little while to go, so I'm not really sold on anything yet. My happy place would probably be in my room, whether I'm like up at college or like in my room back home. Like I just feel kind of safe there, and I can like just be me and sort of like let go and just relax, and I just feel most at peace when I'm sort of just hanging out in my room. I don't know, I really don't get out that much. No, I don't feel like I've ever had to deal with overt blatant racism in my life. I definitely think it's a factor being a woman and just being a black woman. I feel like it makes it so much harder because people sort of already expect less from you being a woman. People already expect less from you from being a black person. So I think that's something that I'm just gonna constantly have to overcome and just prove myself in whatever space that I'm existing in. But I've always feel like people haven't really put me in a box because of my race, and I feel like people are always able to see me as an individual, and like being black is just part of who I am, and it's not a defining factor that like makes or break whether or not I'm qualified to exist in a space. I guess in the sort of business professional world, my issue about like how men would treat me is that I'm not as intelligent, or I'm not as qualified, or I'm not as capable to be doing whatever it is I'm doing, and I guess not allowing me to fully express myself, or like being shut down prematurely because they might not want to have to hear what I have to say, like, oh, like she doesn't have an opinion, like she shouldn't speak on this because she's a woman, so like it doesn't really matter. I 100% think I will achieve my goals in life. I'm a hard worker. I've always been a hard worker, and I'm just someone who doesn't like to leave things unfinished. And so I feel like for me to not achieve my goals, it would just weigh heavy on me for the rest of my life. I'll just feel like I had unfinished business. So I think the fact that I always want to finish something is just a constant drive for me to achieve my goals. I think the biggest thing that would get in my way is myself. Sometimes I'm not the biggest advocate for myself. Sometimes I'm not always willing to fight for what I want just because I don't like confrontation, and like it's a little bit scary to fight and still not get it or get rejected. So I think just learning to be willing to fight for myself and knowing I have a right to fight for myself, and that it's okay if I fight and still get told no, just the fact that I did it is what's important. I think for the most part, I've been treated pretty fairly by any like male peers or male counterparts. The only issue is I've ever run into if it's like I'm walking around campus or I'm out and then guys are like, oh, like, hey, and you're like, please don't talk to me. But in a professional sort of setting, nothing comes to mind that I can think of where I felt uncomfortable or objectified, which I feel really fortunate for because I know that's something a lot of women have to deal with in the workplace. And I know it's really uncomfortable and really stressful to have to go through that kind of thing. I'd say definitely my mom, because when I won't fight for myself, she will always fight for me, and like I just appreciate that so much about her. I know no matter what, like she's gonna be on my side, like cheering me on. She's like my #1 fan, and I love her so much. My mom is definitely a tough person. She's always there. She tries to be everything for everybody, which I appreciate, and also sometimes I try and help take some of a burden off of her shoulders because I know it's hard. Like she's like a superhero. She's always like doing things for the house and for like me and my brothers and for my dad, and like my grandma lives with us, so she's always trying to help her out and just like run around, like go to the grocery store, cook dinner, like help clean the house, and like she's just always doing so much, but I feel like she still makes time to like make sure I know I'm like heard and loved, and I really appreciate that about her. My dad impacted my life. He is like the embodiment of hard work pays off. Like, he came from like a really rough kind of childhood, and he's just always worked hard. And I think just seeing him put in so much work into his career and see him sort of manifest his dreams in a world that would probably tell him it wouldn't be possible, I really appreciate that. And I think that's part of why I work so hard, because I've seen the fruits of his labor, and so I know I'll see the fruits of mine. I think it's really important, especially because I'm the only girl, so I guess it's a little bit less important for me and more important for my brothers. But for me, having a father is important, because that's sort of the first example as a woman, as I see what it's like to have a husband, and like that's how you see like how a marriage operates. So like to see my parents together is really important for me, and it gives me an idea like, okay, so like this is what it looks like to go through life with somebody. A little bit of both. It helps me know what I should look for, and it also lets me know how I should be treated. So everyone has faults. So in my dad's faults, I'm sometimes like, okay, so maybe I'll find someone who doesn't really do that. And it also gives me an idea of like, oh, like look how he treats my mom, look how he surprises her for her birthday or Mother's Day or things like that. So I see the good and the bad, and knowing not everyone's perfect, but it sort of helps me weed out what I would want in a husband. I think people like that, like Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, I think they've risen to such a place of significant power and importance through, I think, as corny as it kind of sounds, believing in themselves and just knowing their worth and knowing their value, and not being afraid to fight for themselves, like kind of how I was saying before, just knowing that they want to be more, and that they deserve to be more, and that they were willing to fight and get to that place no matter what other people would tell them. It makes me, when I hear racism, it makes me really angry, just because I know who I am as an individual, and to think that someone could look at me and just say, oh, I don't like you, or I'm not gonna hire you, or I don't want you to treat this patient because you're black, it really upsets me. And it's like, how can you look at someone and dismiss them solely based on the color of their skin? I think it's just the most disgusting thing that can be a part of someone. I guess to be a part of the solution would be to show people love and kindness, to pray for them, because honestly, the only person who can change someone's heart is Jesus. So praying for them is the most important thing that you can do for someone, and still showing them love and showing them kindness, even when they're showing you such hatred and disgust, I think is really important. And also just existing in spaces where racist people will not want you to exist. So like a racist person would not want to see a black female doctor. So I feel like the very notion that that's my goal, the very notion that I can be there, is just so important. Know yourself, know who you are, know your worth, because if you know that from a young age, nobody can take that away from you. And if you are strong and secure in who you are and who you want to be, like, you just hold on to that no matter what anyone else is telling you, or whatever trials that you're enduring, you still know your worth and who you are. I guess the most traumatic thing, it sounds small, as a lot of issues I've had with friends, like people kind of like not being good friends to me. And I guess the way I've overcome it is by knowing that good people are going to stick by you, good people are going to show you that they care about you. And also a little bit just knowing myself and knowing my worth isn't defined in how others are treating me. And so the more I've come to love and like be confident in myself, the more I've like sought out other people who love and respect me right back. People who have helped me out along the way, definitely my mom, my science teacher, Dr. Martinez, in high school. Like she's like what really made me want to keep going in science. Coach James, when I was running track for a little bit, like being around him. For a public figure, I'd guess Michelle Obama, like she's just total boss lady.
When I grow up, I want to be an actress and a business owner. I do want to be an actress. I want to be in movies or be in shows or plays, and then eventually one day I want to open up my own showroom and have my own show in Miami Beach. Well, I've always wanted to be an actress and like a singer like my whole life, and it wasn't until this year that I was like, I really want to make money and do what I love. So yeah, it was this year that I decided I wanted to make a business out of it. My happy place? I'd have to say just being with the people I love the most. Like honestly, like when I'm with my friends or my family and I'm genuinely enjoying myself, I think that's my happy place. But if it's like a physical, actual place, I feel the happiest when I'm in New York, and I love it there, and that is my happy place. I love the energy there. I love that every single person, not every single person, because there's some, I don't know. But I love how every single person kind of like has a drive. I love how there's a certain fast pace when you're there. And yeah, I just love the energy and how it makes me feel. In Miami, I feel the most comfortable and relaxed. Probably in the beach, and when I'm drinking cafecito. For real, like honestly, it makes me feel like, I don't know, I feel at home. I love it, I really do. To be honest, I think being born and raised in Miami in a mostly Hispanic community, I think most people are just like me. So personally, I don't really feel the racism towards myself as a Hispanic in Miami. But I could say that when I've traveled to other states and other parts of America, it's never been like purposefully trying to put me down, but I think it is a deep-rooted kind of, how do you say it? People question you, and they assume a lot about you the moment they look at you. Like just their first question is, when I was in New York, it was usually, are you Mexican? And I'm not Mexican, I'm Cuban. It never really bothered me too much, but I think if I did live in that area for my whole life, and I felt that every day being asked questions like that and people assuming that they know who I am just because I say I'm Hispanic, and they assume I'm from one place and generalize me, it was annoying and it kind of hurt. And in Miami, I never have really felt that. But definitely in other parts of the United States, I think it's a really big thing that needs to be addressed. Personally, I feel like people's opinions don't define me, or what I look like doesn't define me. Also, I think I could look like a white woman too. So in that way, I am more privileged and I could get away with more. But I think that I don't know enough and I haven't experienced enough racism towards me personally to be able to say that it's held me back from future opportunities or opportunities that I currently would want to take. My drama teacher, Mr. Gordon, actually does help me a lot with my future and what my future aspirations are. And yeah, and my parents. They want me to be the best person I can be inside and outside, and I think that that's their biggest goal for me, just to spread love, light, and be the best possible Christian I can be too, and spread the word of Jesus. I'm obsessed with Lady Gaga. I think that she truly follows her heart and her path, and she is very much my idol for my future because Lady Gaga was put down a lot for what she looked like, who she was. She was bullied all throughout her entire time that she was in school, and she never stopped following her dreams. She always is the black sheep, basically. She does whatever she wants and she doesn't need to explain herself to anyone, and she's really like my idol for my future. Personally, I cannot say I do. In the area that I live in, I think I'm very blessed and very privileged to live where I live, and I'm very grateful that I'm here because I know that in other places I could have been born in another circumstance, but luckily I wasn't. Well, both sets of my grandparents came here with nothing. They came here with just the clothes they had on and probably a couple dollars in their pocket. And my dad's family did start a factory here in Flagler in Little Havana. And I don't know, both of them, my dad's parents and my mom's parents, they really had to use the value, like learn the value of hard work, from going to having nothing to busting their butts every single day. My dad has always talked to me about this, and it's made me so grateful to be blessed with the life that I have now. Because when my dad was my age, he was woken up every morning, 4:30 in the morning, went straight to work at his parents' factory. He would be there until the moment he had to take the bus to school, go to school, and after school he'd come back to the factory, work there till 2 in the morning, and then he'd start all over. And he did that every single day until he graduated high school. And then after that, it was just the exact same thing, working nonstop, relentlessly. And I know that because of both of my parents, the amount that my dad worked and that my mom studied, and that she worked, they were able to sacrifice so much so that I could have the life that I have today. Because if it wasn't for all the sacrifices that they made and the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that they threw into their businesses and their work, I would not be going to the school that I go to today, maybe even be in this interview right now, much less, be wearing the kind of clothes that I'm wearing or be here, So I'm very grateful for everything that my parents have done for me and my grandparents have done for me to be able to live in this country. Well, I think that a big thing that a lot of kids in my generation are missing is that motivation, because I feel as though since our parents and their parents put in so much hard work as immigrants, a lot of the kids nowadays, they don't see, they haven't had to put in that work. And I think that now we're finally coming to the place where they're realizing that all it takes not all it takes, but to live the American dream and be who you want to be, it takes so much more work, especially in today's society. And I don't know, I feel like nothing really is holding me back. I think that I can do it, and with the help of my parents and my teachers, I think I'm more than capable, but it's gonna take time. I think my parents really love me a lot, maybe sometimes too much, and it frustrates me at times. But I know that it all comes out of them wanting the best possible future for me. I know that I have a fear of failure, and they have a fear of failure for me. And I think they don't want to see me sad, they don't want to see me cry, and they don't want to see me come back home crawling to them for help or for money. And I don't know, I think they really care about me, and it's just gonna take time for me to prove to them that I can do what I want to do in terms of my future, and I can pursue my dreams, because I think that with hard work and with discipline, which does take time, I'm more than capable. I think it's extremely important. I have a couple of friends who do not have fathers, or had falling outs with their fathers, or their father left them, or their father's still living in the home but he's kind of absent, or they know that he doesn't have the best relationship with their mother. And these young women and men, I feel like they changed their attitude towards life. I think that a lot of them lack the discipline that a strong father figure in a household gives them. I think everyone kind of has like a fear of their father, but in a good way. I've seen that a lot of my friends that don't have that start going off in the wrong tracks. And luckily a lot of them have a good mother to reel them back in and keep them in the right place, but a lot of young kids don't have that. I think I've been told that my whole life, and it's a very difficult thing to do. I think that when you're a good person and you really love others and you're genuinely happy, people do want to tear you down, and it always works better to be nice to those who do want to tear you down, because at the end of the day it messes with their head, and it just teaches you to be a better person, and you don't have to stoop to their level. And I think that's the best way to live your life. I feel like I could be part of the solution by honestly just talking about it. I feel like social media is a huge part of our society nowadays, and that's where everyone, releases their opinions. People are very active on social media. A lot of them post about their political views and what they think about what's going on in the world, and I think that that's super important, but I don't think that anything spreads as fast as word of mouth in your own community. I think everything starts from where you are right now at this moment, and really talking about our current climate in the United States and what's going on with like racism and politics. I feel like when you really bring it to your households and talk to your parents, talk to your siblings, talk to your grandparents, because most of our grandparents, they're still stuck in the old way of thinking, because I guess that's the way they protected themselves back days, but because they wanted to, stick with their tribe because that's the only way they were gonna stay safe. But now we live in a world where everyone is so close to each other. Everything is so accessible. Every place is so accessible. We can see like Dubai with just looking it up on our iPhones, So really just changing the perspectives of the people who you're around every single day and the people that you see on a day-to-day basis, I think that's really the way to come to a solution. One thing that I would say to younger girls growing up now and my younger self is that especially as a girl, growing up your entire life, all other women and men are gonna try to do is tear you down. There's always gonna be someone that's prettier than you, smarter than you, skinnier than you, more talented than you. And that doesn't matter because the you that you are, you have to be the best you that you can possibly be. Because no one can be you at the end of the day. So even if you wish you had something of another girl or another guy, whatever, no one can do it like you do. And people are gonna see that you're happy and people are gonna see your smile and people are jealous of that and they're gonna try to take that away. And it's really easy, especially, as a girl personally, I feel like it's really easy for people to get to me at times because there's like this deep-rooted insecurity that girls have nowadays, especially because of social media. And something I wish that I could have told myself when I was younger is to not even have that social media. Don't look at Instagram. Don't look at these girls, these edited people, because none of them are real. None of them are true. And you just have to be smart and study as much as you can so you could be educated and defend yourself in the real world, because I think that's the most important thing. I just feel appalled because I feel like that was just like, that should have been so long ago. I don't understand how in 2020 it could still be something that's going on. But the more I think about it and the more I talk about it, that's something that's been around since the beginning of time. And I feel like now we're really getting to a breaking point that we can make it go away. We are not all the same color, we're not all the same race, and I don't think that being colorblind is a solution to racism. I think that everyone accepting themselves as a human and respecting what each person looks like and not taking that into account when you're speaking to them or working with them, that could be our solution. And I just don't understand how people can still be racist today, but I think it's an everyday battle that one day will be completely eliminated.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher. When I was younger, I always wanted to be a basketball player. And as I started growing up, I noticed that my mom was a teacher and that my grandma used to be a teacher. Well, she was a retired teacher. And my sister, she's an occupational therapist, so everybody works with students. Well, not the occupational therapist, but she was like working with kids and trying to teach them how to like be something. And so I decided when I got older that I wanted to be just like them and that I wanted to help kids just like myself, because I know a lot of teachers who helped me out. I decided I wanted to be a teacher my sophomore year of high school. My freshman year, like going into sophomore year, I had a talk with a teacher, Mr. Fade. I know him since the beginning of freshman year because we used to just walk around school and he used to see me every day not going to class, so he used to talk to me. He helped me out a lot because my dad wasn't around a lot, so I got to talk to him and he helped me out, and him helping me out made me realize that I want to help other people too, who went through like the same thing as me.
any basketball court. It's particularly Westminster Gym. It's my happy place because like I just get to be me. I don't have to think about anything else that's going on outside the world. It's just me and other people who I'm playing with or playing against, and we're just there trying to win and just having fun. Mr. Reed is like a big brother / father figure. He's always there for you when you need him to. He can make jokes with you, and if you need anybody to talk to, that's the first person you could go talk to because he understands. Mr. Fade is black and Mr. Reed is white. At first with Mr. Reed, I wasn't as comfortable because he was the same color as me, but as I started to talk to him more and more, I realized that we're pretty much like the same, and I shouldn't like judge off the color of the skin. No, I've never had to deal with anything like really racist before. Sometimes I feel like white people may look at me and feel like we're different because we're not the same color. I think it's just we have to get through that situation. I think like when like white people are talking to black people are meeting white people for the first time, I just feel like just because we're different colors doesn't mean we can't like be friends. So I think we just have to push through it and just get to know the person, because not the color of the skin shouldn't matter if we're friends or not. It's just about that person. If I had to deal with it, like if it personally came to me, I don't think I would be able to like handle it like how I should. Like I feel like I might explode with like anger and like hatred towards that person, which isn't right, but I know that I feel like that's how I'll react. The thing about racism that makes me angry is because like you're just filled with so much like hate towards that particular race, like that color or that religion, and like I don't think anyone should be hated. Praying for like those who hate you is a thing that I could say I never done before, but like I know like praying for them will probably help a lot, because I know God will always be with us for no matter what we do. I know He loves us and He cares for us, and so praying for them should help. I think we could overcome hate by just loving each other. Like we all just love each other, be there for each other, because we're all humans. Being in an interracial relationship, I have received looks like when we're out in public, people just look at us like, wow, like they're actually with each other. But like we just keep moving because we know love is love. Like it's no matter what color skin you are, if you love someone, you love them. But I feel like any relationship is great, and as long as you love that person, you'll be fine. You just keep going on, no matter what anybody has to say about it. I feel like me being black doesn't hold me back from anything. I feel like it helps me get through it because it's like a motivation, because some people think I can't do it, so I just want to keep going and prove them wrong. Yes, I do feel like I'll achieve my goals in life. If anyone's holding me back, it will be myself, not going through all the way. My mom, my sister, and my brother-in-law, they're my support system. I know when I talk to them, they're there for me every day. A coach who I could say had a positive impact in my life was my coach, Gary, from when I was in middle school and through high school. He was always there for me, and he was pretty much my dad. Anything I needed, he got for me. Every time I'll go to his house, anything, he was there. I could talk to him about anything, and he just had a real great impact on my life, and he pushed me to be better. My father, I'll see him every once in a while. every time I saw him, it was a good time, but I just didn't get to see him every day. It was really hard not being able to be with my dad, especially knowing like all my friends had their dad, so I never knew like how it really felt to have that father relationship. Yes, I do feel like it's important to have the father in the life of their child, because I feel like he could just like be there with you going through things. Like my mom was there for me like through everything, but I feel like if I would have my dad around more, just pushing through with sports and everything, I feel like it could have been like a lot better, and like he could have just took me more places to like be better with sports and stuff. My relationship with my dad makes me want to be there with my kid every day. I just want to be with them, like never leave their side. Even with my nephew now, every time he comes over, I just want to be with him all the time. My relationship with my mom is great. I know anything I need, she'll get for me. She's always just been there for me through everything. Even when, like my freshman year, when I was going through everything, like realizing that I probably never have a great relationship with my dad like I wish I did, she was there for me. She talked to me, and she told me everything, and she told me she loved me. So my relationship with my mom is great. The most important thing that my mom taught me was to always love yourself and take care of yourself, because no matter what, even if no one else loves you, as long as you love yourself, you can keep pushing through. If you take care of yourself and like make sure you always like have a nice haircut, always have your clothes like clean and stuff, you can always get a job. And so it doesn't really matter if anyone loves you, as long as you as long as you're like making something of yourself. And the most important thing my dad taught me was to always respect someone, no matter what, even if they're like being rude to you or being disrespectful to you or hating you, just always show respect. My freshman year, I realized it because like all of my friends, like not one of my friends from high school didn't grow up with their dad. And like when I used to go to their houses and stuff my freshman year, it used to just like make me sad seeing like their dad was there with them and like watching them grow up, something I never had. The two factors that I think control the direction of my life is, I'll say courage, because I feel like I can get through anything, and respect, because if you want respect, you have to give respect to earn it. The way to be a part of the solution is just, for the things you don't want, just go out and vote. Maybe go talk to somebody, go talk to people, have like conversations, talk to them, listen to what they have to say, because maybe you'll learn something, and have them listen to what you have to say, because they may be able to learn something also.